Happy New Year. Look, my son got me this. It's a Trump-et. He put pictures of Donald Trump on it, and it's very cute. And it makes a lot of noise, which I'm a big fan of. Anyway, listen, the end of the year is almost here. We're starting a new one, and that means it's time to make some New Year's resolutions. But these aren't just personal New Year's resolutions. I think it's important for every single American, Republican, conservative to take stock at the end of the year of where the party is and where the party needs to go in order to continue to survive and, most importantly, thrive. So, as is tradition, these are Republican resolutions for 2025. I'm gonna unveil them one at a time, so I don't want to spoil the surprise. Are you ready? All right, here we go. Number 1, put on the mask. Now, I'm not talking about one of those Dr. Fauci COVID masks. I'm not talking about one of those things that you cover your nose and your mouth with so you can go into stores back in 2020. We're talking about the kind of mask that you find in airplanes. I know you've been on an airplane and you've heard the spiel that the flight attendant always gives. And she says, in case of emergency, masks will drop from the top of the fuselage or whatever, the compartment above. And if you're traveling with small children, make sure you secure your own mask first and then help those who are traveling with you. And that's something the United States of America has a big problem with, and the Republican Party as well. Republicans, newly elected Republicans, and Republicans who have been serving this country for what seems like decades in many cases, must remember that we have to secure ourselves first. We have to put on our own masks first before we aid those who are traveling with us, which means we need to make sure we put America first. And it's not a mask, it's more like a hat that says, I don't know, USA, USA. But any and all decisions that Republican voters, that Republican lawmakers, that the Republican Party makes has to follow this one simple guideline. Does it help keep America safe? Does it help keep America strong? Does it help keep America rich? And if we help ourselves first, then and only then can we help the rest of the world. We've been doing it differently. We've been putting masks on everybody else. Ukraine, the Middle East, Taiwan, everybody. And then we're like gasping for air as the plane is careening down into the cavern. Not anymore. It's got to be put our mask on first and then save the rest of the world. Number 2, embrace capitalism. You would think this is a no-brainer because America is a capitalist country, a capitalist society. And in fact, the only reason we're here is because capitalists wanted a place to, freely do business and trade goods and build a future for themselves. And the Pilgrims came over, yes, because they wanted to escape religious persecution. But when they got here, what did they do? They started capitalist pursuits like blacksmithing and horse wrangling and cattle ranching and chicken cooping and I don't know. There's all kinds of things that they used to do back in the day that I don't have any knowledge of. But our founding fathers, most of them were bankers and plantation owners and farmers and business people and insurance salesmen and inventors, and a bunch of them made beer. And that's how America came to be. This is a country that embraced capitalism, that protected capitalism, and grew as a result of our capitalist society. Even the robber barons in the Industrial Revolution, they were able to make significant gains technologically and economically because they embraced the capitalist spirit, which is whoever could make the most money could make the most money, and as a result, create jobs and opportunities that abound. We have kind of lost that along the way, and in this day and age, every American has the capability to do what our ancestors did, and that is create our own opportunity for wealth. You could be a blacksmith like your entrepreneurial forefathers were. You could be a chicken cooper. You could be a cobbler. Any of those things. You could start your own shop. Embracing capitalism is not just for the wealthy. It's not just for the Elon Musks of the world, although he's done a pretty good job at embracing capitalism. It's not just for Donald Trump and his offspring. It's for you and it's for me. And in fact, in my book, Cancel-Proof Cash Flow, my proven social media strategy for conservatives to thrive online, I teach you 2 things. Number 1, how to make your own money online. And number 2, how to keep from getting canceled so you can continue to make all your own money online. And this is something that has been so well received with conservatives because everybody realizes that with the technological advances and the social media marketing capabilities that we all have, anyone can and should embrace capitalism. And why? Why should we embrace capitalism? Well, what's the opposite of capitalism? Socialism. And socialism is bad. It's destructive. It puts too much power in the hands of too few people, and it makes the rest of us minions for a corrupt and tyrannical government. We don't want any of that. We've seen how the left has embraced far socialist opportunities and ideologies and tried to push America into a cavern of socialism. The only way that you can combat socialism is with capitalism. So if we've got too many socialists in the United States of America, what we have to do is create more capitalists. And as a Republican Party, that's something that we can, should, and must embrace in 2025. Number 3, identify as conservative. You know, all the talk the last couple of years has been your sexual identity. Are you a he, him? Are you a she, her? Are you a z, them? Are you a they, it? Are you a who, what, where, why, when, how? Whatever it is that people were asking you, what's your identity? Well, nowadays you need to identify as a conservative, and you need to do it proudly. Because it used to be so easy to tell who the liberals were, wasn't it? It was so easy to tell who the liberals were in our society. It was so easy to tell who were the people that voted for Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Barack Obama. But it wasn't always so easy to know who was conservative. Sure, you could go out to the hunting range and see a bunch of guys shooting guns with fatigues on and have that's a pretty safe bet that they're conservative. There were other places you could go and maybe stereotypically find some conservatives. But now, with the swath of red that has taken over our country, conservatism is everywhere. And the more that we all openly identify as conservatives, the more popular conservatism will be. Do you know why so many different people changed their pronouns and said that they were men or women or men or none of the above in the past couple of years? Because it was popular. Everybody was doing it. All they heard was about people changing their pronouns. Well, if we make conservatism popular, if you identify openly as a conservative, then all of a sudden more people are going to want to follow that crowd. And this is a much better crowd because, well, it's us and we love America and money and, you know, and God and stuff like that. So if you can identify as a conservative, what you're going to do is you're going to promote conservatism in your daily life. You're going to promote conservatism online. And as a result, you're going to continue to bring more people into the fold. And again, it's just like creating capitalists. It's the best way to fight socialism. If you want to fight socialism, you create capitalists. If you want to fight liberalism, you create conservatism. And the best way to do that is by being a cool example for everybody else. So when someone asks you what you identify as, the answer in 2025 should be a loud, proud, conservative American. Number 4, starve the jackass. This is one of my favorites. There was an old parable. I think it was like a Cherokee Indian parable or something. I don't know. But the grandfather of the Cherokee tribe went to the grandson and said, "Son, 2 wolves fight in the woods. Which one wins?" And the grandson looked at him and said, "I don't know." And then the grandfather said, "The one you feed." Basically what that means is if you're conflicted, if you've got a conflict going on internally, if there's turmoil, if you've got some kind of tension, if there's 2 ideologies that are battling back and forth, then only one can win. And the one that wins is the one you feed, the one you give food to, nourishment, attention, the one that you support. So what we need to do is make sure that we are feeding the proper wolf and starving the wrong one. And the right wolf is the right wolf. And the wrong wolf is the one on the left. Starve the jackass. And this doesn't just mean politically. This means wherever you find them. For example, the media is dominated by the Democrat Party. Democrats and leftists, they have taken over the media. They've inserted themselves in the media and they control the media. They use the media now as the mouthpiece of the Democrat Party. And there are still conservatives out there. There are still Republicans out there who are consuming this media. They're still watching CNN for some reason. They're still watching ABC News. They're still watching all of these liberal media outlets and giving them not just attention, but food and nourishment and keeping them alive. And what we've got to do is we've got to metaphorically starve out the jackass in all aspects of our life. Politically, we've got to starve the jackass in business, and we've got to starve them in the media landscape. Donald Trump did a great job at this by ignoring traditional media and focusing on conservative live streams and podcasts and alternative media and bolstering those opportunities, going on the Joe Rogan podcast, for example. And what do we see as a result? After the election, CNN's ratings cut in half. after the election MSNBC on the auction block because they're not profit. They're barely getting 100,000 viewers every night. I have videos on this platform that get more than 100,000 views, and I'm a one-man show. They've got dozens and dozens of high-paid employees pushing the leftist agenda, and now they're floundering. We didn't kill them. They're wounded. It's time for us to starve them to death so that by the time the next election rolls around, there won't be any more liberal media outlets that are out there proselytizing and pushing propaganda direct from the Democrat Party, which is basically just a bunch of hubbub and lies. And number 5, the 5th Republican resolution for 2025 is to spread the gospel. And that's something that we've learned from the Bible. It's not just enough to go to church every single week. It's not just enough to go to church and take communion and read the Bible. You've got to tell other people about it. You've got to get out there and you've got to spread the gospel. It's the only way to get the good news out there. You know the term preaching to the choir? Well, preaching to the choir doesn't do anyone any good. You've got to throw open the doors. You've got to take what you've learned. You've got to walk out into the streets and you've got to convert the unconverted. You've got to find somebody who may not be that conservative, maybe not a Republican, or even worse, is a Democrat. And you've got to explain to them why they need to make a change. You've got to explain to them the benefits of coming over to this side. This is the year. This is the year when every conservative has to become a vocal conservative. And look, I know what you're thinking. You're like, I can't. If I go on social media and start talking about conservatism, I'm going to get canceled. I'm going to get thrown in Facebook jail. And to that I say, you should read Cancel-Proof Cash Flow because I've been canceled from every single platform, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and LinkedIn, and thrown off the radio and kicked off of television. And I've come back stronger and smarter and richer than ever before. And I share with you exactly how you can go on social media, say what you want to say, and not get canceled. The other thing is, you need to realize that when you go out there and you spread the gospel, it doesn't have to be you spreading the gospel. Thanks to technology, you could take this video that I just recorded for you, you could copy the link and share it with somebody else. That's spreading the gospel. That's taking a message that I've already recorded and delivered and giving it to somebody else who you believe needs to hear it. It's taking your favorite conservative podcast or some of Donald Trump's Truth Social posts, whatever it happens to be, and sharing them, retweeting them, posting them on your Facebook page, sending them to a text message thread, starting a text message thread with your friends or your family members, and slowly inserting some of those ideals, like the ones we've shared here, into those messages so that you can reach the people that need to be reached. That's what we need to focus on in 2025 because we've got another midterm election coming up in 2 years. Then we've got to elect a new president in 4 years. Why? Because Donald Trump's in his second term. So we've got to put on the mask and start helping ourselves. We've got to start helping America first. We've all got to embrace capitalism, and we've got to do it right now. We've got to start identifying openly as conservatives. We've got to starve the jackass in any liberal leftist media or news or political organizations are. Don't feed that wolf. Feed the other one. And then, of course, we have to spread the gospel just like I did here. And if you enjoyed this message, do me a favor, hit like, subscribe, and set those notifications because I'm going to keep spreading this gospel every single day throughout 2025. Subscribe, hit like, subscribe, set those notifications. And if you want a copy of Cancel-Proof Cash Flow, you can get one delivered to you instantly. The link is in the description of this video. Happy New Year to all. It's another one of my resolutions, learn how to play this thing.